Yo, what is up guys? Grim here. So in today's video, I thought we'd go over kind of an interesting concept in PoE, which is the whole idea behind partying up with your friends or with other people who you don't necessarily know, and the benefits behind that. Because in PoE, it's by far the best idea to group up with other players and play together with them, at least when mapping. For boss killing, it's a little bit different, but if you're trying to make currency in maps, it's definitely the best idea to be in a group when doing that. So we're going to kind of go over why that's the case, like why you want to team up with the people as opposed to solo, and kind of everything there is to do with grouping up and stuff like that. So to begin with, it's really important to know that in PoE you can have a maximum of 6 people in your group, and there's a few things that we'll learn from that just here right now. So per person, when you group up with someone, you're going to get a 50% increase to currency drops. So basically, you zone in and you get 50% increase guaranteed. So if one KSO would have dropped, technically one and a half is drop. It doesn't exactly work like that. Obviously, you can't have fractions of currencies and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of generally how you're going to be looking at it. And then you're also going to get a 10% increase quantity bonus on items. So that's uniques, basically every item in the game, 6 sockets, all that kind of stuff. And then you're going to get a 40% item rarity on other drops as well. So just off the bat, this is all data which has been taken from the wiki, and the wiki information is a little bit outdated. We don't know if GGG has kind of messed with the numbers at all for a while, but basically that's kind of what everyone bases their assumptions on currently in the game, that those numbers still. And then we go on here and we got some information about the different items drops from magic, rare, and unique monsters, but that's not too important right now. So you're probably looking at this and going, well, I'm only getting 50% more loot for having 2 people in the party. That's never going to equate to as much as I can make solo. And normally you would be right, but when you get a character which has a ton of magic find on it, like a lot of what people are running right now in the kind of meta at the moment, like you've got Ventus gambles and all that kind of stuff. Basically, all of all of the magic find on players actually multiplies the party bonus and a bunch of other bonuses as well. So that's the current understanding of how it kind of works. And when you get in a party, you're definitely going to notice a massive increase in the loot if you're stacking magic find. So basically, the idea is that you get in a group, you're going to get that 50% quantity bonus on currency and stuff like that. And then if you've got a bunch of magic find, it's going to multiply all that kind of stuff. So you're going to get a ton more loot. So it's going to be around double for 2 people, triple for 3 people, and 4 times for 4 people. That's kind of what I've experienced. I've never been like, oh man, I'm not getting as much loot as I would be getting solo. I've never really experienced that when playing in a group, and you shouldn't either as long as you have the required gear. So with that out of the way, one small tidbit of information as well is that being in a party does not increase map drops whatsoever at all. Just completely not at all. So you're not going to get any more map drops from that, but you don't actually need any more map drops because if your whole party is playing together, then you're going to be running the same maps anyway, and you wouldn't need any more than you normally would have. So that's really important to know. You're not going to lose out on any loot. So if you have one extra person, you're going to get enough loot for that person as well, generally, if you've got your party set up right. And that's really important to know, and that's where we're going to kind of get into why it's so powerful. In a lot of cases, you're actually going to make a lot more money than you otherwise would have, because stacking enough quantity and all that stuff generally actually brings you out ahead as opposed to playing solo. So with all that in mind, I kind of wanted to go over some of the other benefits of playing in a party. So let's say you've got a party of 3 or 4, and it's the start of a new league, which is coming up in 3 or 4 weeks from now when you see this video. So that's going to be really good. New league, you all get on and you're playing together, and how can you best take advantage of that situation? So in PoE currently, you can do what's called portal hopping and quest skipping a lot of the time. So the best example in PoE currently of this is in Act 2. So let's say you roll through Act 1 nice and easy, and you get into Act 2 with your group. You can send half your group up to Chamber of Sins, and you can send the other half to the Western Forest to do the Weaver and stuff like that. And you can set a portal at either side, and then while one's doing the other one, they can get the other group, come in, get the quest item, and then go back to town, and then go back to the other group's portal, and then have that all skipped basically. So you can almost double your clear speed through the campaign in Act 2. You can also split up even further. You could send one player, one of each player to each of the bandits. You can get people to run ascendancy trials and stuff like that. So in the prison, instead of having everyone look for the ascendancy trial, you can just have, say, like one guy go for the ascendancy trial and then drop a portal and everyone comes in. So playing in a group is definitely going to speed up your progress through Acts 1 to 10. And that's really, really important at the start of the league because the first person to maps generally makes the most money. So that's really, really cool. You're going to make a lot of money that way. So, in terms of just clearing the story fast, that's one thing. But obviously, a lot of people aren't going to be going hardcore like that. They're not going to be rushing. So, how are you going to make kind of advantages in being a party later on in maps? That's the main thing behind that. Other than the quantity bonus and stuff like that, making a little bit more on there. Being in a group actually allows you to do something else, which is very powerful, and that is whenever you have the sextant, sorry, and stuff like that. Let's say you're doing shaped vault. So let's say you have a full group of 6 people. So generally, a shaped vault is probably going to cost you 70 or 65 or 70 chaos to sextant up in today's current economy. It might be different at launch. Um, so that's going to stay the same whether you have 1, 2, 3, or even 6 people in the party. So when you have the expenses fixed like that and you can just split the cost between everyone instead of one person, you're going to be making tons more money. Your risk is going to be way lower. And just overall, you're going to have a much more smooth mapping experience. And it lets you kind of do more kind of expensive strategies, whereas a solo player wouldn't be able to. So as a solo player, you might throw 65 chaos at a vault, and you get unlucky, and you don't get a divination card. But in a group, you're basically guaranteed that because you have 6 times the amount chance to drop that card. So that's really good, and not only is it more consistent because you just have a higher drop chance of everything, as I said earlier, you're going to be getting a higher quantity than generally you would be playing solo. So that's really good. Really, really cool there. And it's going to make your mapping experience much better. So you're basically going to be able to full sextant any strategy you're doing when you're playing with 6 people. You're going to be able to beyond it, and you can even get into things like putting Val wins on every map and stuff like that. Because you just have so many people, splitting the cost makes it a fraction of what it would normally be. And you can make tons of money that way because you're basically running super juiced up maps, whereas other people aren't because they just can't afford to invest that much and risk losing currency. So that's really, really cool. There's another huge advantage which really, really will kind of put you above everyone else. And I think this is the main reason I was able to get headhunters so quickly at the start of the league, and why a lot of the streamers and stuff like that are able to get like farming shaped vaults and stuff day 2. And that is when you're playing with a group of people, this isn't group restrictive, so you can have like 10, 12, or anything like that, is sharing Atlas completion bonuses. And you're probably like, oh, well, that sounds simple. I do that with my friends all the time, but it's a little bit different when you're playing at the start of a league. So in the start of a league, when you hit maps, you can go to Zana and you can buy maps of Zana. So let's say, like right now, I can buy all these maps here. And this is really, really important. This is probably one of the best strategies to do when you're starting out. So when you get to maps, Zana's going to be level 1. And if you buy all of our maps, generally they just cost chance orbs and stuff like that, stuff which is pretty accessible at the start of a league. You buy all of them, and you have every single person in your party buy all of them. Then what you can do, let's just say you have a party of 6. So a normal player is going to be able to buy one lot of Zana maps just fine. But in your case, you're getting 6 lots of Zana maps instead. So not only can you run all the maps that you get and get the completion bonus, but you can start doing 3 to 1 instantaneously. So you can grab all the maps that everyone has, put it in a tab, and then combine them all up and get even higher tier maps, which allows you to get kind of a head start on other players. So whereas other people are just kind of, they ran all their Zana maps and now they're grinding tier 1s to try and get that tier 2 like bump up. You've already got those. You're probably on tier 4s by now because you 3 to 1'd everyone's maps. And not only that, with a group, what you can do is every time Zana levels up, so let's say I have a level 1 Zana right now, I buy all her maps. If I level her up using the daily missions, then she's going to restock all of her maps, regardless of whether the day ticked over or not. So not only can you do that, but you can level her up, and then you get another lot of 6, whereas the other person would only get 1. What makes this even more broken is that daily missions kind of aren't exclusive. So you can run one person's daily mission, everyone gets the experience. Next person, everyone gets the experience over and over and over again. And if you have 6 people, then you're going to get like Zana level 3 or 4 just as soon as you get into maps. Maybe not level 4, but definitely level 3. So whereas, and also when you level up Zana, the kind of maps that she gives you back are higher tier, which is just going to boost you even more. So doing Zana abuse at the start of the league is really broken, whereas people are going to be running like beach and stuff like that over here, like desert. You're probably going to be running like fields and stuff like that because you buy like everyone's maps and then you level up doing dailies, and then you buy everyone's maps, and then you get to level 3, everyone's maps again. And to do like to even make this more broken, you can buy like prophecies, like a gracious master and all that kind of stuff, and it gets even more broken. So you can get like a massive head start on your Atlas, and you can really like get a leg up on everyone else. Because the first person to get into maps, the high shaped maps, and sexton them up and stuff like that, is going to make a killing. Because Devotos and stuff like that, day 1, 2, and 3 sells for like 25C. So that's like massive amounts of profit because those things drop all the time, especially when you've got a full party. So the sooner you are to maps, the better, and the sooner you're running the best maps, like even better again. So that's another reason parties are so broken at the start of the league. And we're going to get into why it's even more disgusting. So you've got the loot, you get increased loot and consistency. You can invest way more in maps. You can speed through the story a little bit faster. Another example of kind of cheesing the story a little bit is in Act 8. You can send one person to Lunaris, one to Solaris, and then you can kind of do it that way and then just port each other around. Having said that, you will fall behind in levels a little bit when skipping parts of the story, but there's certain points in the story where you can farm very efficiently, and you're still going to be making a lot of ground on people who don't do this. Specifically, Blood Aqueducts. Like you can basically skip all of Act 8, and even with a massive XP penalty, you can just go to Blood Aqueducts and farm the hell out of it, and be way ahead of anyone else. So that's really good. The other thing is with the whole team thing, generally you play as 1 or 2 DPS and the rest of the players support, and we'll get into that now. So as you can see here, I've got some popular roles and kind of go-to classes which you play in groups. So as I just said, you usually have one DPS as a baseline who has all the Magic Find gear on them. So as you can see right now, I've got like Abyssgos, Aventus Gamble, and stuff like that, like Goldworm. And that is because in groups, the only person, so when you're in a group of like 6, the person who gets the killing blow on it, their magic find is applied. No one else's. It doesn't take like everyone's magic find kind of level and multiply together. It just takes the one person who lands the killing blow. So for me, I've got 38% increased quantity of items slain, sorry, of monsters slain, and that's without Biscos. So when I kill a monster, I'm gonna get that bonus. But let's say we have another DPS in the group and he has no magic find, then my magic find is basically useless. So you want to get 1 or 2 DPS, make sure their magic find is stacked out, and you want to boost those guys up as much as possible so they're getting their killing blows, and you're getting that juicy amount of loot which you would be getting. Because otherwise, if other players who have no magic find is killing them, you're not actually getting the full kind of benefit of being in a party. Because remember, you've got the party bonus, and then the magic find bonus multiplies the party bonus. So that's why you really need to have a magic find kind of character going. It's really, really important. So with my recommendations for that, you can either have like an EK Nova kind of character like I'm going. They're really good with support. KB Wanders are really good, although they don't have kind of as many options as EK Nova. They rely a little bit more on gear, like critical strike rings and stuff like that. However, if you've got a good enough group, then you can kind of just put the same stuff as you've got on EK Nova on. Wind Ripper is definitely probably the highest magic find character in the game right now, unless you're going like Greed's Embrace or something like that. So if you're going like vault farming and you've got like 3 or 4 supports or like 1 or 2 supports or something like that, Windrip is definitely the best option because again, that magic find bonus from the gear multiplies the party bonus. So Windripper will multiply it way higher than EK Nova will because it just has more magic find. And then lastly, I've got Cosprey Discharge. This is more of a solo build. It doesn't do too well in groups because a lot of the auras and stuff benefit like physical damage and stuff like that from the Auramancer and stuff like that. Like you're not going to gain any benefit from hatred or anything. So generally, Cosprey Discharge is more of a solo farmer. Also, it goes way faster than a lot of the other characters can keep up. So like a champion cursor, there's no way it's going to be able to keep up with Cosprey Discharge. So it's just kind of an honorable mention. I would stick with these three if you're going to be doing group play content. And then I've got kind of the supports here. These are the kind of the go-to supports at the moment. So if you're looking to play a defensive support, you want to be playing a Mana Guardian. So your role in the group is kind of to obviously keep up like Val skills, like Val Grace and all that. But your specific benefit to the group is going to be a massive amount of bonus energy shield, which is based off your mana. Massive amount of regeneration, which is really good, especially if they're not playing Val Pact, which most high-level builds currently aren't. I'm not sure about these two, but I know EK Nova and Cosprey definitely aren't playing Volpact. So that's going to be really good. You're going to have massive amounts of regen, which really helps, especially with when I'm playing. I play with Blood Rage, so having a Mana Guardian in my group, it feels great because I don't have to worry about that anymore. And then they also give a massive amount of bonus armor, which is really good against, especially right now against the Abyss monsters. They hit so hard, and having a ton of armor is really good. And they also give flat physical mitigation, which is also really good against the Abyss monsters right now. So that's kind of a Mana Guardian. If I bring up Path of Building here, you can kind of look at the bonus and stuff like that. We'll just check those out real quick. So as you can see here over on the Guardian, these are the ones that count. You get a massive amount of like energy shield and armor, and then you get a lot of regeneration and physical reduction per aura you have on. So if you have 10 auras, you can get 10% physical damage reduction to you and allies. So that's why Guardians are so good. You're generally going to be using something like a Bright Beak and a shield and just shield charging with the group. And a lot of the time as a support, your job is generally going to be to pick up loot and keep obviously Val skills up. Make sure you're with the group at all times. And you're going to be dropping decoy totem a lot of the time as well. And maybe if you have too many decoy totems, a rejuvenation totem is okay as well. So that's really cool. A lot of people really enjoy the support playstyle. In terms of which support is the best, the next one coming up is generally the cookie cutter go-to one, which everyone really likes because it's like basically the biggest flat-out clear speed boost you can have in the game, full stop. And that is the Auramancer or Aura Necromancer. And the reason they're so good is similar to the Guardian. Instead of giving energy shield, physical mitigation, and all that kind of stuff, they give attack and cast speed. And obviously, those things are directly in line with clear speed. If we look at the ascendancy tree here, we can take a look at the Necromancer, and this is basically the one keystone which matters in terms of kind of clearing, and that is Commander of Darkness. So auras you cast grant 30% increased attack and cast speed to your allies. So again, if you have like 10 auras, that's 30% increased cast and attack speed, and that is massive because if you look at the tree, generally, let's turn this stuff off. You're going to be getting like 4% cast speed per node or something like that. You'll get more for the big ones, but generally it's a low amount. So when you get a Necro in there and they just give you 30% from their Ascendancy, then you got Val Haste, and then you have like stuff like just normal haste and all that kind of stuff. It gets really ridiculous, really fast. And Necromancers are kind of the go-to kind of class if you want massive amounts of clear speed. And you'll notice it when you get in a group with one or you make one, how fast you're either making people or how fast you are. So that's really powerful. And the last one here is a champion cursor. This is definitely the most defensive option in the game in terms of support. So basically what this is a character which plays with either 4 or 5 cursors, and it puts them all on every monster permanently, basically, and that's its main job. So what it's going to be doing is it's going to be generally using a bow, specifically Quill Rain, and something like Ice Shot, and it's going to have a curse on here linked to all of its stuff. And it's going to probably use a lot of Asenaths, I think it is, on the gloves, so you can get a lot of curses going. You can get 2 from rings, 1 from amulet. I think there's another one from a helmet, and then obviously 1 from the skill tree, so that's 6 in total there. Most people don't go with that many. They generally go quad curse or 5 curse, but it's really powerful, so you can put stuff like temporal chains on there. Warlord's Mark is good for life leech and stuff like that. Enfeeble, vulnerability, we got like projectile weakness and stuff like that. So not only are you going to be doing that, but the champion class itself actually taunts all enemies, when you hit. And because you're attacking so fast with Quill Rain, you're taunting basically everything on the screen. So in an ideal world, monsters aren't going to attack your allies at all. They're all just going to run to you, but you're at range anyway, and you're using a chilling effect from your ice shot, so everything's slowed. So it's basically just really powerful, and you're going to be slowing everything with temporal chains as well. They're going to hit for basically nothing because of enfeeble, and it's going to be really, really strong. So that's kind of the main setup currently in the game. You have a DPS, you have generally a Mana Guardian, an Auramancer, and a Cursor. It doesn't have to be these specific ones. And then kind of another one is a Freeze Bot, which a lot of people have been starting to adopt now. They use something like Frostbolt and Hypothermia, and their main job is to like shoot at stuff and permanently freeze everything on the screen. That's another kind of support, but they're not specifically increasing clear speed. That's more of a defensive one, so more for hardcore. In general, the ones I would kind of prefer, like my preference is playing with an Auramancer first, and then if I was going to get another party member, I'd get something like a Mana Guardian, and then I'd get a Champion Cursor. So that's kind of the meta behind popular roles right now. You can obviously throw in another as many DPS as you want, as long as they all have maximum amount of Magic Find gear on them. Because it just feels really bad when you're in a group with someone who has no Magic Find, they're killing monsters, and then you know that you could have got more loot if you were the one to last hit them. So that's kind of the downside of playing with other DPS, as opposed to just having one DPS and buffing them up heaps. But when you get into 6 players, you really do want to bring multiple DPS because the health increase on all the monsters as a result of having such a large party is so massive. So you kind of want to mix and match a bit. So maybe you have an EK Magic Finder and also a KB, and they've both got like the Biscos on, the Ventus on, and Gold Roam and all that kind of stuff, and that's going to be really good for you. One more thing is, so you've got all the auras and all that stuff going on, but another really powerful thing you can do is, so day 1, 2, and 3 and all that kind of stuff is, generally you will keep all your currency together as a group. Obviously that just makes it a lot easier to get gear for everyone, and kind of pool your currency, and that's kind of how you're going to be able to beat out everyone else. So while they're playing as a solo and they're kind of struggling to build stuff for their build, you're kind of playing as a group and you're putting all the currency together, and you can get really big key items like a Shavs, kind of like a 6 link for everyone, Escher's Mirror, Insanity Essences, all that kind of stuff much faster, which will allow you to then farm faster, which is kind of, it's a compounding kind of issue there. And the main one is if you put your money together to get a headhunter, then you're going to be able to clear way faster than everyone else. Because it doesn't matter how many people are in your group. If the one DPS has headhunter and they're getting all the buffs, then everyone's going to move faster because the headhunter generally gives you a ton of auras, which will affect everyone. So it's just like your group has auras, the headhunter gives you auras, and it's just so powerful. So that's kind of going to be my take on party and all that stuff. One thing to note is if you're playing in a party, it's very, very important to know that you have to stay basically on the same screen as each other. So you can't just have one person go way off in another map and then all the way over there. You're going to lose your party and kind of quantity bonus. So the general rule of thumb is when you're playing as a party, if you're not getting experience, you're not contributing to the loot bonus XP. And just from my testing, it's about 1.5 screens. So let's say Tora is my teammate. Just probably about now, she's starting to get out of bonus loot range and XP range. So basically, the reason this is in the game is to stop people botting. So you can just zone in 5 people at the start of the map and just run it yourself. All the people need to be in the same area for you to get those loot bonuses. So that's basically going to be my little bit of a guide on groups. It's definitely worth grouping up. Not only is it more lucrative and powerful in the game, but it's a lot more fun as well. Kind of being on Discord with everyone, it's really fun, and just chilling out, especially at the start of the league. I'm going to be looking for more people to play with as well. So maybe if you're in Australia, let me know, drop me a line, and we can play together at the start of next league, which is coming up. I got a lot more videos on that. I've kind of been a bit slack lately. It's been really hot here, and a lot of real life stuff's come up. But I'm getting back into it now. Got a lot of cool stuff with the website. We've spent a lot of time improving the UI, as everyone said that was a big problem. So you can look forward to that. I think you guys are going to really like it. And hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video and got a little bit of insight into group play and the higher end kind of play as well. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.